Hello, so this video is what I think about Austin because that's one of the towns that I've lived in America. Austin is the capital city of Texas. I think it's where George Bushy Bush is from. And his daddy's from Austin too. I know that because my daddy's from Austin. And my daddy and George Bush Sr. were frat buddies. Or frat brothers in the University of Austin back in like the 40s or something. Yeah, and I was born in Austin. My daddy went to University of Austin, but my daddy, born and raised in Tyler, Texas. But, you know, my daddy just went to school in Austin, and actually a little bit in Boulder. Because he was in Boulder when they won World War II. Remembers they put a big old bonfire up on the hill. So anyways, yeah, I was born in Austin, and I lived there for 6 years, from 73 until 80. And then I lived in there again for like a year and a half or something, from '08 to '10, the end of '08 to the beginning of '10. So all of '09 I lived there. Yeah, so obviously most I can talk about what I think about Austin is from the '08 to '09 because I was such a little guy back yonder. But from back a little guy yonder, Austin is, it's a very beautiful place because it has these, the hills, the Westlake Hills. Like you have the big old river, Colorado River goes through Austin, but it goes through so slow that they don't even call it a river. They call it a lake. They call it Town Lake. And it's really big. I should have gotten on my kayak and kayaked across it a few times. That would have been fucking nice. Austin's awesome. It's beautiful, man, because they got that big old river going through. I did take my kayak out on this other lake next to Austin. And I took it, I sailed it down and then I paddled back up. And that was fun. Oh, and then, no, I did kayak my boat up freaking River Lake. Colorado River from Austin, from Lake Travis, all the way up, like 50 miles up to almost to this other town. But I stopped because I wanted to sleep and I was going to get up the next day, and but it was like totally windy. And I didn't want to go up the river because it was like really windy, and I just didn't want to. I wanted to go home, but I couldn't paddle down the river. I had to, because the wind was going up the river. So I was basically getting pushed up the river and big rapids, like whoosh, all fast. Whoosh. And I was going to get thrown into these cliffs, so I just steered the boat over to the right. But anyways, it's like totally flat. I mean, beautiful, flat lake, flat river, zigzagging up, man. And I did do a bike ride around there too from Westlake Hills. Westlake Hills is very, very steep. Those roads are crazy steep. So when you go down, you can go like fucking 80 miles an hour. 0 to 60 in like 3 seconds. But the cars, they don't respect bikers at all in Austin. Like when they pass you, they'll pass you without slowing down and without giving you any room, dude. Fucking scare the shit out of you. And there's no shoulders on any of those roads out there. So like you're asking for trouble if you ride in Austin. It's a great place to ride in the wintertime because it stays warm. Lance Armstrong's from there. But when he rides with I saw it in a newspaper once, he rides with a car behind him. So cars have to give him room. He just goes out with his buddy or hires somebody to drive a car right behind him while he goes riding. So, but Austin also has these these trails. When I first went there, I rode my mountain bike down this trail from the lake, the river, Town Lake, up some like where they have some like swimming pool, up some trail, this single track trail. It's actually really good mountain biking. Up through the woods, you have to carry it over some like rocky sections or whatever. And then all the way up, basically, until the trail kind of peters into something where you don't want to ride it anymore. And like, I should have gone there when it was raining because there were like, because there would have been like rapids on that river and I could have even taken a kayak down it. But I went there when it was dry and there was still a little bit of water, but you could see that it was a water hole you could jump because they had this like rope for rope jumping. But yeah, man, when there's water, it'd be beautiful to like ride up there, like kayak down there, inner tube down there. I think I inner tube down that part of that once in Austin in '87. And there's this huge river and rapids and stuff, but it's just seasonal. And then, taking the boat up at the river. I did that when I took the boat up the Colorado River. It was a full moon, and it was the closest a full moon had been to the world in like 19 years. And yeah, it was beautiful. I love kayaking and the fucking, oof. Yeah, anyways, yeah, people, it's really athletic city. You see runners everywhere. Runners out running fucking every 2 minutes. You see somebody running by. It's crazy. So many runners. It's like runners, as many runners there as bikers in Boulder. And I did the marathon while I was there, the Austin Marathon, but I did it without training. It was in March of 2010 when I raced it. And it was after 2 months of not doing anything. Like literally I was laying in bed all day long, working on my website, my personal website, like my calendar and stuff. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh yeah, that marathon I signed up for 6 months ago. So I raced it. I had to drop out after 12 miles because my feet hurt and my whole body hurt. I couldn't barely even walk after that. But people were running really fast on that marathon. I mean, I got passed by like 3 75-year-old ladies. Like I was standing still. Like they were having fun. Like, yay, dee-dee-dee-dee-dee. And it was like, and they were doing the whole marathon. And they were like fast marathoners. I saw what was it, like a half marathon? No, a 10K. I saw a 10K race there. I didn't race it. I was going to do I actually signed up for a triathlon that I was going to do, but I accidentally set the alarm clock to nighttime instead of morning time, so I didn't get up. So I went there to Austin, or to the triathlon anyway, because I was going to get a free meal from entry ticket. And some like stupid girl was like, what? I'm not going to give you didn't race it though. I was like, I paid. Fucking, anyways, I did get my free meal. But, anyways, that afternoon was a 10K and people were running fast. Like Lance Armstrong raced it. I saw him run in at 32:07, and like Matthew McConaughey did it. He ran in at like 43:30 or something. Really fast. That was faster than my time. I did the Boulder in like 46. But that was without any training either. I didn't train at all for that. So if I had trained, I would have been faster. But the guy, he got like 7th, but the dude who won was like 29. The fastest girl was like 34 or something like that. It was like, and she had big tits. A little young girl with big ones. But there are lots of fast ass people. Like people can run down there. It was, and bikers too. I think there's lots of bikers. I think they have like bike races out in East. I should have gone out there and done them. I'm more bike racer mentality now. I mean, I would show up at a bike race right now without even training, just so I can get my ass kicked. I don't care. I just want to be out there to be part of it. And actually, I'd love to do a co-ed bike race just so I can get my ass kicked by chicks. But anyways, they do, and yeah, they're pretty fit. I was in the gym. I got a membership at 24 Hour Fitness for like a year, and I was in the gym, and I saw people there who are pretty fit. They're not as big as in Sacramento, like muscular wise, bodybuilder wise, but they're like fit people there. Yeah. And you see runners everywhere. So it's definitely an athletic place. And it's definitely a really, really, really pretty place. With the river and the lake and that other lake, and then that single track trail that goes through the woods, and then there's some other trails too. And that goes like right through the middle of the city. It's interesting. It starts right on the lake and goes right through the middle of the city. But when you're in there, you feel like you're in the middle of nowhere. It's really cool. Yeah, people are really nice there too. That's another thing about Austin, is the people are really friendly. They're a lot nicer there than like in Denver. Or Boulder or Durango. Just random everyday people you see. They're like, hey, how are you? Can I help you out? Oh, nice to help you out. Yeah, really good. And it's really close to Mexico. And I did see a lot of Mexicans, but it's not like overwhelming. Like, oh my God, the Mexicans are here, taking over the world. Um, there's a dude like parked out there. I saw a light in my windshield. I was like, what the hell? And there's lots of yeah. So it's like a good mix of all the people. I think there's lots of Easterners, like Indians from India there, because they go to college. I think the university is like really big. It's like one of the biggest in America. It's like 30,000 or something crazy. And they have like lots of like computer related stuff, and so they have like I guess Indians who like to do the computers or go there. And the campus, the college campus is really pretty. It's right next to downtown area, really close to downtown area, which downtown area is awesome, dude. Really like big buildings and everything right next to the river. But on Fridays, and I only did this once, but on Fridays on 6th Street, they actually turn it off to cars and it becomes pure pedestrian. And there's pedestrians everywhere, dude. Like jam packed, and every single bar is jam packed with people dancing and drinking beers, and it's like crazy, dude. Yeah, it was the first time in America I'd ever seen that. It was like crazy party on Fridays on 6th Street. And yeah, but the people are really friendly. And it seems pretty affluent, although it's not like over the top. Like I didn't see like I think it's a pretty good mix of like the houses. There's no like, in this area is where the rich people live with all the nice houses and closed in gated neighborhoods. I didn't see that. It was like really like well spread out. The rich part, I guess, would be Westlake Hills. That's actually where I grew up when I lived there. We were neighbors with Ann Richards, the governor, or the later governor. Her daughter was my babysitter. And also neighbors with Steely Ray Vaughan's brother. But yeah, but Westlake Hills is beautiful because it's like you go across the river, and I distinctly remember this when I was a little kid, like the drive up there. And then I actually rode my bike up, and I saw my house that I grew up in. They let me in, and we walked around, and I gave them pictures of the house and stuff. Beautiful house, like right on the top of the hill. There's this pool. There's like all this land on a steep hill, and you go down. There's this like tent patio, and you can see the actual skyline from the house. But like it's really steep. The roads are really steep, like the one up to my house when I grew up in. Really, really, really steep road like that. And it's funny. I was riding my bike up there once, and this biker passed me. And then he like looked over at me and he kind of slowed up a little bit because he wanted me to like get on his wheel. It was weird. And but anyway, I was right before I got to my house, and I turned over and I checked out the house. But it's like really steep roads, really lots of nice houses up there, but like old houses. Yeah, even the houses up there didn't look like all big and new and like ritzy. I guess the big ritzy looking houses were out like near the river. Kind of near where the first house that I lived in. Like on the east side of the river, on the west side of the city. There's some big houses out there, but it's just a good mix. And there's some hills. There's some areas where it's hilly. Westlake Hills is really hilly, but then the rest of the town it's really flat. And the farther north you go, like the more like industrial looking it was. But it's a big city. But yeah, it's the campus is really pretty because it's totally insular. It's like its own little city within a city, kind of like the Boulder University campus. You're walking around and you just like walk from building to building without having to, wait a stoplight or anything. I went to girls volleyball game there once at the University of Texas, and it was off the fucking hook, dude. Because before they started playing the game, when they're doing warm-up, these girls who are like totally fit, man, dressed in the tightest spandex. Like this girl, Destiny Hooker, she's 6'4", black girl, weighs like 140 pounds. Has her like freaking spandex way too small for her, like all the way up her ass. And then all these other girls, there's like 3 other girls who are like 6'5". And then the other team had a bunch of girls who are like 6'5". But they're all out there warming up, doing line dancing to the beat of these dance hip hop songs, going ba ba da da, all in freaking formation and moving their bodies around. They were putting on a show, a sexy show, moving their asses and shaking their fucking tits and their bellies. And I mean, it was crazy to the music. Cause I went there and I was like, I was like, what the fuck? You know, and then I saw the game and it was packed with people. Like the whole thing was packed with people and they're all like cheering. And yeah, man, there's like lots of school spirit there because there's no professional football team or basketball team or anything, no professional anything. All they're like superheroes, super athletes, or the college kids. And so, yeah, they've got their Go Hokies. No, that's Blacksburg. The Husky. What the hell are they in Austin? I don't know. I don't really remember, but yeah, dude, they were into that. Then they have this like clock tower that we went up one day, and you can look around at all the town. And it's like really old. It's where this dude killed all these people, like in 68 or something. Barricade up there and shooting people. But yeah, it's pretty well spread out. I don't recall there being any traffic problems, unless you're like downtown central area, like going down the road between the campus, just to the western side of the campus. There can be some traffic going down there, but generally, like from my house to the gym, there was never traffic. The roads are not totally wide though. I guess it's kind of an older city, but I didn't really experience that much about Austin when I was there this last time. I was inside all the time working on my computer and stuff. The only time, I did that one river trip up there, and then I'd take my river on that lake once, and then I did mountain biking when I first got there, and then I did that one big road ride after, but that was about it. In a year and a half, that's all I did. I was in the house the rest of the time. And I was going to the gym, staying in shape that way. But Austin's a cool place. They have this big highway that goes through pretty much the center of town. Interstate highway, where you can just drive right through and kind of see the center of the city and see it, and like you're jacked up above the other roads. So you get a good view of it, but never have to like get below 170 miles an hour. Just, but it's a big city. It's like a megalopolis. It's like as big as Denver, but it's not the biggest city in Texas. Like Texas is a booming place, I guess, from the oil wealth and other things. The university there, other universities, and farming and ranching and stuff. I guess but there's lots of big cities there. There's like Austin is like the 4th biggest. The biggest would be the Dallas-Fort Worth metropolitan area, because that all together is like one city. But officially, Dallas and Fort Worth are 2 different cities. So the biggest city would be like Houston, which is like the 4th biggest in America or something like that. I think in America it goes New York, LA, Chicago, Houston, Phoenix. But El Paso is, I think, the 9th or the 10th biggest in America. So El Paso is omega big too, and that's only like an hour from Austin. So there's some omega ass mountain built cities. Lots. It's a state with a whole bunch of big cities. Like what? Is that 6 big cities? Fort Worth, Dallas, Houston, Austin, 5, and El Paso. Well, I guess not El Paso. San Antonio. I think El Paso's pretty big. Anyways, Austin is the nicest though, because it's like an oasis, really. It's got that river going right through it, and then all these other rivers drainaging down and then coming down from the Westlake Hills, which is really hilly. And most of Texas doesn't have mountains or hills or anything, so it's like really lush too. A lot of jungly, and it's got that big ass University of Texas, the biggest university there, and it's pretty. So it's got lots of culture and lots of people there. So the people in Austin, I think generally they're pretty actually like really like liberal, actually, like maybe even like Democrat. I don't know. But like liberal, socially liberal, and cultured, well traveled, and all that stuff, you know. Because then if you get out of Texas and other parts, it's kind of like ranch city, ranch country. You know, it's just like plains, people with cows and stuff, and no trees, and like cowboys, you know, like and conservative people, socially conservative people. And so Austin's kind of like an oasis in the middle of all of that. So I think that's about it. That's about what I think about Austin. Oh my God. And that was 20 minutes. So that was definitely long enough. Okay.